Just to give you a little background on the cards, you might be familiar with them, but they're a deck of 78 cards. There are cards from 1 to 10, just like the playing cards, divided into 4 suits, just like the playing cards. The suits in the tarot are called discs, swords, cups, and wands, and they represent various dimensions of our being. For instance, the discs would represent our physical beings, our body, our current physical circumstance and environment. The swords would represent our mentality, our approach to intellectual activity, cognition, mental functions. Cups are more fluid. They talk about our emotions, our imagination, our intuition. And then the wands are representative of our more fiery nature, the intention, the will, the determination, decisions, things like that. And so when we lay out the cards, they talk to these various aspects of our being. Can you see this map behind me on the wall?
Yeah, it looks like the tree of life.
That is the tree of life.
Okay.
And the tarot cards were originally developed in the 15th century occult renaissance to be correlated with the spheres and paths on the tree of life. So the cards 1 through 10 that I just mentioned correlate with these spheres 1 through 10. And what the tree of life represents is originally that path of evolution from God through its limitations into manifestation as the human being, and the human being's spiritual evolution back to God knowledge, circular. The tarot cards were developed to be placed upon the tree of life and show the spiritual aspirant where they are in their spiritual progression, where they are in their approach back to God consciousness or back home. The paths between the spheres, there are 22 of them, represent or are represented by the 22 trump cards, or major keys to the mysteries. And then there are 16 more cards, the princes, princesses, kings, and queens, the court cards, which represent a certain level of mastery of the various dimensions of our being. So for instance, if the princess was to arrive in the spread somewhere, she might be talking about a certain level of mastery achieved in the circumstance closest to you here. You might be a master, a mistress of discourse, and be able to use the mind in particular ways that enable you to create your reality around you flawlessly. That kind of thing might be represented by, say, the Princess of Swords, or if you happen to be firmly established in your heart and of such benevolent nature that your approach to service was something just generous and bodhisattva-like, you may be represented by a prince. The court cards are representing certain levels of mastery in these various dimensions. And altogether, I'm going to draw 15 cards for you today, and we're going to lay them out on the tree of life and look at a picture of your overall place in your human condition. So I'm not going to. That's
wonderful. I feel like I'm in some kind of a cusp moment in my life. So the timing on this is really. I mean, there's some shifting of state that's happening.
Don't tell me anymore. Let me try for just a little bit of objectivity here. I'm going to do my best to read the cards.
You're lovely.
I'm going to do my best to read the cards and not read you, and that's going to be really, really hard because of all of the information that I've got to actually work with. But that's good too. I mean, I do pride myself as a man of integrity, and the information that I have I will be able to correlate with the picture that I see on the card, and maybe I'll be able to make an interesting story out of it. I'm going to draw 15 cards. The first 3 are going to talk to your current condition. And the next 6 after that are going to talk to the future options based on what the current condition is. So simply put, you're sitting down right now. You have the choice going into the future of either standing up or laying down. You're watching this screen. You have the choice to keep watching or turn it off. choices. And the basic premise being that we do have free will. I know some of these philosophies saying that we don't, but this reading goes on the premise that you do have free will, that the future is not determined in any way, but is affected by current circumstance and choice going forward. Hence, we'll give you 6 potentialities. I'll draw 3 more, talking about what might be influencing you, what might be causing the cause of this current condition of yours. And then I'll let the tarot give you 3 cards of advice. You can tell me when to stop shuffling, and I'll start.
I think that's a sign.
Is that it?